of all about a conversation. I think of it more as like a language than a like style of, it's a style of movement, but like more of a language than a sport or anything like that. You can portray a lot with one movement. You can portray a whole sentence with one movement versus actually saying it. So I think it's a conversation, whether between the artist and the choreographer, or the dancers in the audience, or even just the dancers like between each other. There's a lot of conversing that goes on stage that the audience doesn't always see. So I think that's essentially what it is. It's a language, it's just a body language instead of a verbal one. I actually think part of the reason that I do like dance so much is because I'm a tactile learner. So it's something that you have to use your body to learn. It's very hard to conceptualize.
Through dance and through music, it's also just kind of, I've kind of like learned more about like how I learn and like what works best for me. And so I think like I've been able to translate that over into like learning in like a traditional classroom.
For me, when I'm learning about a concept or like a step-by-step process, I have put it to like choreography in my mind. So then I'll have like this little dance, and each little part of the dance might represent a different like step. So for me, that's kind of like one of my learning techniques. It's a little weird, but it works well for me. Like I have to get something into my body in order to retain it.
If you learn a dance, you're going to embody that dance, like everything about it, internalize it, so you can express it on stage or at a performance, wherever it may be.
So I think once you like know how to do something, if you think about it in a research sense of things, you can know how to take notes, you can know how to do observations and stuff, but that's very like on the surface understanding of things. I think you kind of really get to embody knowledge, and you really become like a researcher or a scientist or something like that when you start to ask your own questions, and you kind of really begin to define what you want to be studying, who you want to be as like a researcher, discovering your own style of things. So once you kind of hit that level where you have such a good understanding and such an embodiment of the knowledge that you no longer have to think about like the basic steps of it, that you can kind of delve deeper, ask your own questions, is when you've kind of transcended, I guess you could say, into like the dancer version of a researcher.
For us right now, like he was saying, we're never going to need to know organic chemistry if we want to be a doctor, but like what we learn in medical school and like especially residency, I feel like that's going to be more an embodied learning, something we're going to have to internalize, because that's when we get into like the real stuff that like we're going to have patients who are suffering from diseases or injuries, and we're going to have to know like it's on us to heal them and get them back to being healthy. So like that's the information that we're going to embody. That's like the embodied knowledge to us.
There are a lot of subtleties to the patient-doctor interactions, and one of those subtleties is body language. You could very easily accidentally kind of miscommunicate through body language and come off as maybe like aggressive, or like maybe like not confident or something like that. Something your patient doesn't want to see.
Reading in like on people's cues and just kind of reading a person or reading an environment is definitely a form of embodied knowledge.
I think to have embodied knowledge and truly have embodied knowledge, you have to not just like practice movement like once, you have to practice it many times. In order to be a good surgeon, like you need a lot of practice. That's why surgery residents have like a long road. Like you need to have years of like learning how to do surgery and like watching other people do surgery, and like you need to have so much experience, so much repetition, in order to like fully embody the knowledge, so that you feel really comfortable, and like so that like you know what you're doing, and like your body like knows exactly like where to cut, or like how much pressure you need to use. If you don't have to think about it anymore, then like your body like already knows what it needs to be doing. So I would say that would be considered embodied knowledge.
I don't think about the fact that the point shoes are on the end of my feet anymore, or that when I go up on releve that I'm literally going to be on the tip of my toes. Like, I don't think about that. It just kind of happens. So I no longer have to necessarily worry about whether or not I'm going to get completely up on point, because I know I've been doing it for so long that it's going to happen. I can just kind of like trust in my body, and we say trust in your technique when you go on stage, because at that point, that's what you have. You can't improve it, and you can't improve your technique while you go on stage. It's kind of, you have what you have. So you kind of just have to trust in it.
Embodied knowledge is definitely like a higher level of awareness, a higher level of knowledge, because you can not just like know about something, but you also know how it feels in your own body.
I think like there's definitely the difference, like when you're learning, at least for me, when I'm learning like about something, it's more of like facts are hitting me and I'm putting like the pieces of the puzzle together. So I feel like when you actually get into the how, you get into like much more of the core of dance, because dance is embodied in movement. So once you get into the movement, you really can feel it. And I feel like feeling a dance is the most important way and the most important thing to key in on when you're trying to learn it.
I think that anyone can gain something from dance or from movement. I think that's why there's so many sports that are out there. That's why there's so many different types of dance. Yeah, ballet specifically might not be for everyone, just like football might not be for everyone. But I think there is something out there that everyone enjoys movement-wise. I think if you're just sitting in front of your couch all day, it gets a little bit boring, versus if you're up and moving. I don't think that there's ever really a shortage of things to do, of places to go. So yeah, I definitely think it's probably one of the most beneficial things out there, and I think it's one of those ideas that doesn't get a lot of credit.
I think people really like underestimate the power of movement, and I mean, yeah, I think a little bit of movement can go a long way.